But we were told that we were going to be getting funds from oil receipts. You understand? I don't think that the free HS, the priority of the free HS has gone down. I don't think there's no money for it. It is only the priority. What is happening is that plenty of Ghana's income is being used for things which are not necessary. Just imagine how many district assemblies we have, and so how many administrative overhead costs that we have to pay for. Assuming we had a slimmer administrative structure, couldn't we save money? And there are plenty areas in governance that we can save money. What did we do with the 1 billion for COVID? That now we have to wait for do some lala in order to be giving free COVID vaccines. Why? Let's take the SHS. When I was in school in the 70s, we used to have farms. So the pepper and other things which we used for our kinky and everything, we cultivated them during agric subject, agric science lessons, etc., etc. The spinach for the green, that's the kontomire, we planted it, the students. You understand? Yeah. Now that those places, the farms which we used to plant it, has all been turned into residential areas in Achimota. you understand? So we could have linked our free SHS to an economic venture. One, the books. Why is it that we are importing books from Malaysia? Why aren't we printing the books in Ghana here in order to boost the printing industry? You understand? Why isn't that the food isn't tied to local farmers producing? There's a lot of rice in the north. Why are we still importing rice for buffer stock to give it to them? You understand? So it means that it means that it is not a well thought out, integrated project. It's not well planned. It's because it's for electoral purposes. It was thrown as a bait. And unfortunately, we took it because of the poverty levels of our country. So most of the people who were finding it difficult to finance SHS for their kids thought it was a wonderful idea. And then quality started suffering. How did quality suffer? We had to reduce the contact hours with teachers. We had to do the shift system and everything, which we fail to understand that it is not always quality, but it is quality married with, it's quantity married with quality. So if the people from the free SHS come out and qualitatively they are not up to it, how would they get jobs? Considering the scarcity of jobs in the system
but certainly
now.
That wasn't the preoccupation of government or even parents. Clearly. because they had a choice to make. Yeah. And the choice was between quality plus quantity and quantity. I don't know if I'm making sense, because what the NDC, for instance, wanted to give to the people of Ghana was quality, obviously, plus a quantity, because it was going to be done
over a period of time.
Absolutely. But the Ghanaian people, well, not everybody, but once the NPP won, now let's assume that the Ghanaian people wanted quantity. Because then the argument had shifted from, oh, my child will go to school free, even if I don't have money. There have been instances where people complete JHS and they have to sit home for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years before they get an opportunity to go to school. So this was that opportunity which was presented by the NPP, I beg your pardon, in order to address that particular challenge, that parents were facing. So we had a choice. Yes. We made a choice.
Yes.
And we are suffering for the choice that we made.
Yeah, we had a choice, but there's a critical mass who, for economic reasons, were going to get hold or catch this kind of juicy choice. But what was civil society's role in this whole thing? They also acquiesced.
Absolutely.
When they knew that the thing had not been well thought through. Why did civil society, all those civil society organizations in education, children's welfare, and other things. Where were they? Where were Occupy Ghana and all those, the Bar Association, the Moral Society, the priest, and every... What kind of input did they make in drawing up a sustainable, well-planned, well-thought-through, qualitative education plan for our country?
What's the way forward for us, from where you sit? Way forward because, and rightly so, brilliantly submitted by you, that, you know, we're getting the quantity, but we're not getting the quality. Because in your estimation, there should have been a certain connectivity with education and, you know, economic viability, if you will, right? So our inability to make that connection has a rippling effect.
Yeah.
And that rippling effect will be that we are churning out students who, naturally, even look at our curriculum, right? So it's even divorced from development, right?
Yeah.
Now, look at what we are going to be doing. We're going to be churning out students who, as a result of our inability to properly implement a policy, will not be able to, you know, be educated properly, right? Plus the kind of curricular system that we have, which obviously is also not, you know, developmental driven, so, or development driven. So in your estimation, how does the future look for you? How does the future look for you, and how can we immediately address this concern? Because it's a concern which ought to be addressed. Otherwise, we would have half-baked students, you know, who obviously will not be able to fit into the system, and then they will become armed robbers. And a sophisticated armed robber is more dangerous than an armed robber who's not educated at all.
A half-baked armed robber.
Absolutely. So once they're educated, they can use sophisticated means to even come and rob you.
Yeah.
So we need to look at all the connections and the nexus, perhaps, that is created as a result of our inability to properly, you know, think through policies and execute them.
Well, like I indicated, that the policy formulation process was not followed. And the policy formulation process, where it was distorted, was the absence of a stakeholder role in thinking through all this and arriving at a certain consensus as to whether we needed a free SHS immediately or we needed it over a period of time in order to have a well thought through and a well planned policy. You understand?
But they borrowed Kwame Nkrumah's self-government now.
Yes, but Kwame Nkrumah's self-government now took 10 years.
No, beyond that, came with a plan.
Yes, indeed. And that's why all the obstacles, it took 10 years before it was implemented in 1957. But I think the civil society organizations, the political organizations, and other stakeholders in the public space in Ghana should start a discussion. You understand? Now we are getting the hashtag fix the country now, fix the security services. We should also demand a fixed education thing.
So that there should be. I think it should start from there. Really.
Yes, so that there should be a broad civil movement in order to demand that this distorted education that we are being given should be corrected.
Yeah.
I mean, and it should be across board because it is also affecting MPP members. It's affecting NDC members. It's affecting CPP members. It's affecting the generality of the public. Because let's be frank, it's not all MPP members who can send their children to international schools. The vast majority of MPP members, their children go to Saito and to this public SHS. You understand? So there should be a groundswell within the public space demanding and then bringing out ideas as to how we should fix it.
Brilliant submission again. And Honorable, I'll take a last bite from you. But let me stay with Mr. Heneku a little longer. Mr. Heneku, I mean, you speak so eloquently about building up the momentum to a certain, I mean, for us to be able to get to that crescendo where the development will be experienced across the board. That's brilliant. But there's a sense, and this is just a little outside of the conversation, but I think that it can also find expression in the generality of the conversation, that this movement has started. And this movement primarily is centered around our inability to expand development and to bring proper development to the good people of Ghana, which has necessitated the need for Ghanaian people to agitate. But the difficulty for me is that if you look at the people who are involved in this agitation, and the kind of political architecture that we have, where we have to the left, the NDC, to the right, the MPP, the people who are left in the middle are just a microcosm of the larger people who belong to these two political sects, right? And so how do we ensure how do I even put this? How do we ensure that we achieve a certain level of change, the change that we're looking for, with that microcosm of people that we have left in the middle, to be able to, push the levers and ensure that things are done properly? How do we, because I'm saying this again, because when we start a movement, you realize that immediately it garners some support and it gathers some momentum. But it gets to a point where it obviously, plays out politically, and then you don't get that support that you need in order to effect the change that you're looking for. So we're always left in the hook. Yes, we start these nuances, like
Kwame,
I don't know if you understand the...
I do understand. Right. Kwame, I'll go back to history again.
All right.
Ghana, Gold Coast was considered a model colony by the British, where there were no disturbances. They were able to do the exploitation nicely. The chiefs were helping them and everything. Then one day in 1948, things suddenly changed when there was a boycott of European goods and there was a riot. Then it hit the imagination of the people of this country that there ought to be a change. So change, when it comes, it must start from the way we think and the way we perceive the world around us. You get my point? And the way we perceive the world around us today in 2021 is that Fix the Country movement has drawn the majority of the middle class, because mostly the middle class who are on social media. Attention. People, what they see has now been brought home to them in just a simple slogan, Fix the Country. And people have suddenly realized that everything is broken around them. Everything has become so vivid and stark. You understand? And so we can't go back to the period before this Fix the Country thing. So even if the people who are leading the Fix the Country thing can't move on, there will be another stage. That stage where another group of people will come and continue the fight. You understand? And that will be much higher and qualitatively at a higher stage of the fight. So the guys have done brilliantly well by drawing our attention to the fact that, look, you guys, watch it. Wait a minute. The country is broken. It needs to be fixed. And the leaders must fix it. And the leaders are not fixing it. Because also the reaction of the leaders. The leaders say, we need $10 billion to fix roads. Obviously, we don't have $10 billion, so no roads will be fixed. The leaders say, wait a minute. It is the Ghanaian people, your attitude. It is you yourself who must fix yourself. Look at the feedback, the reaction of our leaders who were supposed to have elected in December by popular vote, as affirmed by the Supreme Court. You understand? They say everything was clean. They were legally elected. You understand? But even then, people had certain doubts. Now, all those doubts have crystallized into the fact that, you guys, you have taken the power by force through cheating and everything. Now you are on top there. Everything that you said you would do, you didn't do it, and everything is going down. Now fix it.
Well, government disagrees. Government says they are fixing it, which is why Napo said they are fixing the power crisis that we face. They are fixing that.
So if they are fixing
that. In fact, the finance minister listed a number of things that they have done. Obatampa, budget, and all of that. In an attempt to fix the economy.
Has it fixed it? Has Obatampa fixed it?
Well, so that's the conversation that we must have. But the point is also that the response from government is that they are fixing the challenges that we're facing.
Agreed. But their fixing is not good enough for us. Like Agri of Africa said. You understand? It is not good enough for us. We don't see the results. You see, the results are what matters. The outcomes are what matters. What are the outcomes? Is the outcome the very plethora of taxes which started on 1st May, Workers' Day, for us? VAT taxes, COVID taxes, all sorts of garbage taxes, all sorts of taxes. Is that the fixing? Is that what is the end result? The end result is that the cost of living has gone higher. You have not even given any increase in pay. You understand?
In all
so
of
you say you are fixing it. You are fixing what?
Yeah. Right. So, and it comes back to the final conversation. Mr. Anako, I'll come back to you again.
Okay.
Because it appears that we have...
and wait, this NAPO thing. They say they have saved 1.4.
I was actually...
Why don't they use that to pay the energy company so that they do so will be solved?
But according to
NAPO, it is not...
According to NAPO, it's not as a result of some financial constraints, which is why we are facing this challenge. They said that they are fixing the lines. So
but the energy companies say they are owed $1.9 billion.
That is so. But
so if you have saved 800 million, so if you have saved $1.4 billion, it's only common sense which tells you that you pay your debts.
Okay. Honorable, let me come back to you again. We have moved we have actually elevated the conversation from just free SHS and NAPCO to generally what we need to do in this nation. But also not losing sight of the important role that education plays in all of these. And Mr. Heneku, brought it home for us to appreciate the fact that there must not at all be a disconnect between education and development, which is clear as apt as it could be. Yeah. That there must never be a time where our educational focus will be drifted away from our educational